This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. In another sign of the troubles at Stellantis North America, Honda sold more vehicles than Stella in the first half of the year. Honda is now the fifth largest automaker by sales in the U.S. after GM, Toyota, Ford, and the Hyundai Group. Most automakers saw modest growth or slight declines in the first half of the year, but sales at Stellantis fell 15%, and sales of Ram pickups, the company's most profitable vehicle, were down 20%. We think this helps explain why Stellantis replaced 6 top executives in its North American operations so far this year. No doubt elected officials in the state of North Carolina are scratching their heads over this one. 2 days ago, VinFast, the Vietnamese automaker, announced it was delaying its $4 billion assembly plant in the state, citing uncertainties in the global EV market. But this morning, VinFast announced it's building an EV assembly plant in Indonesia, citing the strong potential for EVs in the region. The $200 million plant is sized to make 50,000 right-hand steer cars a year. Meanwhile, the plant in North Carolina, which is sized to make 150,000 EVs a year, was supposed to open this year, but is now scheduled to open in 2028. North Carolina provided VinFast with an incentive package worth $1.2 billion to build the plant. Germany does not want to upset China, which is its largest export market, so it's going to sit out a vote in the EU today to impose tariffs on Chinese-made EVs. German automakers are concerned that the tariffs could lead to a trade war with China that would result in retaliatory measures. Germany says it will abstain from voting because the EU's investigation into Chinese-made EVs is still ongoing and because negotiations between Europe and China are still happening. Italy and Spain say they will support the tariffs, but today's vote is non-binding, and a final vote will not happen until the EU completes its investigation. Even so, many Chinese automakers are not taking any chances. They want to build assembly plants in the EU. Car News China reports that SAIC is in talk with Spain about opening a factory in the country, though it could also go to either Hungary or the Czech Republic. SAIC was hit with the highest tariff of 37.6%. SAIC will produce MG models at the plant, and it's aiming to kick off production in 2027. China isn't just pressuring Europe to drop the tariffs, it's fighting back against the IRA subsidies in the U.S. and has asked the World Trade Organization to set up a panel to settle the dispute. Chinese-made EVs are excluded from EV subsidies provided by the Inflation Reduction Act. China says it has not been able to reach a solution in negotiations with the U.S. government, so it's turning to the WTO.
Michigan is leading the charge in mobility and innovation, and I can't think of a better state to be in.
Even though EVs cost more than ICE vehicles on average, a new study by J.D. Power for Automotive News found that EVs cost less than ICE vehicles over the long term in most of the United States. An EV costs $3,000 less to own on average over 5 years than a similar ICE vehicle. J.D. Power factored in the transaction price, federal and state subsidies, OEM charger incentives, interest rates, residual values, and tax, title, and licensing fees. It also includes the cost of insurance, maintenance, charging, gasoline fueling, and charger purchase and installation. New Jersey had the highest savings, with EV buyers saving $10,000 over 5 years. Maine and West Virginia were the only states where ICE vehicles actually cost less to own. And we should note that the savings are for purchasing an EV because a 3-year lease for an EV costs about $1,800 more on average than an ICE. In something of a surprising move, Bollinger Motors, the EV commercial vehicle startup, appointed Jim Taylor as CEO. Taylor had extensive experience at General Motors, including running Cadillac and Hummer, but his last job was as CEO of ELMS, or Electric Last Mile Solutions, which was another commercial EV startup. Taylor had to resign from that position over questionable stock purchases, and ELMS eventually went bankrupt. 2 years ago, Mullen Automotive bought a controlling interest in Bollinger Motors, and Robert Bollinger, who founded the company, decided it was time to step aside as CEO and bring in an experienced automotive exec, which is why they hired Taylor. Robert Bollinger remains with the company, which is expected to start making Class 4 electric chassis cabs later this year, which will be assembled by Roush Industries. Early last year, Tesla kicked off a price war in China that soon spread to every EV manufacturer in the country. That price war does not show any signs of slowing down, and it's now spreading to ICE vehicles. SAIC Volkswagen just chopped the price of its top-selling sedan, the Lavidia XR, to only about $9,600, which matches the price of the electric BYD Seagull. Toyota chopped the price of the Camry to just under $18,000. Legacy automakers are trying to protect their ICE market share as EVs and PHEVs eat into their business. Bloomberg reports that discounting on internal combustion vehicles in China hit almost 20%. Analysts say that if car sales are weak this summer, more price cuts could be on the way, and some auto execs believe the price war could go on for another 2 to 3 years. A decade ago, the crash protection of Chinese-made cars was abysmal. You could even call them death traps. Well, not anymore. China's latest crash standards, called NCAP, are almost the same as Europe's NCAP standards. NCAP stands for New Car Assessment Program. And an electric crossover from Series and Huawei just earned the highest safety rating under the China NCAP program. That suggests it could earn the highest rating from Euro NCAP, which up to now has rated the Tesla Model Y as the safest car it's ever tested. The Chinese car that aced the crash test is the Ito M9, which is available as a BEV or E-REV and is priced between $65,000 and $78,000. And that wraps up today's show. Thanks for watching.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering boost your game. MEDC, where Michigan businesses are powering the future of mobility. And by Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
Intrepid's NeoVi Pi, allowing automotive engineers to interface, capture, and monitor vehicle data using Raspberry Pi. As a matter of fact, it's the automotive industry's first robust platform for Raspberry Pi, featuring Intrepid CAN-FD technology and Raspberry Pi Compute Module. The NeoVi Pi is designed for automotive environments, allowing use with relative power ranges and applications. In addition, the NeoVi Pi enables you to use the Raspberry Pi for compute while avoiding additional development to adapt to network environments. That makes the NeoVi Pi powerful enough to solve your vehicle network problems, yet small enough to fit in your backpack. One of many Intrepid tools used for developing zonal architecture and software-defined vehicles.
Trusting tires designed for the long haul. Because you'll always go the distance. For friends. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Alenza tires with an 80,000-mile limited warranty.